How's it going? It's World Homeopathy Day as I'm recording this, and so I thought I'd share my kind of thoughts and experiences with homeopathy. It always makes me laugh, to be honest. People get so outraged over homeopathy. There's articles, oh my god, it's killing people, and we have to stop the homeopathy. I find it hilarious. If you don't want it, don't use it. It's not very complicated. It's not rocket science. But we'll get to that. So I first discovered it around 10 years ago. Of course, I had heard the word, no interest, didn't know what it meant, didn't know what it was. And I had a sinus infection that became probably 5 or 6 courses of antibiotics going back to the GP again and again and again. And eventually that sinus infection became a chest infection. This is over the space of a number of weeks. And I would ask him, like, what can I do? Is there anything I can do? Because it was my immune system was just run down. I was exhausted. I could barely get through a day's work. I come home and sleep. And my health, it was just, the antibiotics were not doing anything. And eventually, through a friend, someone mentioned something called Vega testing, and I found a place. This was 10 years ago, and it probably cost me, I think, over €200, which was very expensive. I didn't know that at the time. I went and I had the testing done. Long story short, paid the money, got a shock, and I'd say within 4 or 5 days, I knew immediately, my system was kind of clearing up. I was getting more energy. And within about a week, it was almost gone. And I went back for a kind of follow-up, and that was it, done. So after that, I basically stopped going to GPs. And I then was the type of person that I would get a sinus infection usually every year. Or not every year, but for a few years in a row during the winter, the damp, kind of around Christmas. And I would always I found a different guy, a different homeopath I would see, who I now see probably about twice a year, just for a checkup if my energy is low, if I'm not feeling the best. And it's obviously come down in cost. More people are doing this, there's more competition. So probably cost me around 50 or 70 quid, can't remember, depending on what he gives me. He would check my energy levels, all the rest of it. It's all good. So I keep doing it. I don't go to GPs. I don't rule out GPs, and I don't rule out traditional medicine. If I need it, I need it. And the guy I see, if he recommends go to a doctor, well, then I'll go to a doctor. Pharmaceuticals do kill about 100,000 people a year, I think it is. So, a lot of people do die by taking traditional medicine. There obviously are reports that people die by taking homeopathy cures. Now, they don't die from taking homeopathy cures. They die perhaps from not taking an alternative route, or traditional medicine, or surgery, or whatever it is they require. So it's, in a sense, misdiagnosis, and that can be from self-diagnosis or from the homeopath who doesn't know what they're doing, or doesn't see it soon enough, or whatever it is. Who knows? Grey area. So there's an overlap. GPs don't cure everyone. Traditional medicine, surgery doesn't cure everyone. Neither does homeopathy. So there you go. So there's no black and white. It's not like one is perfect. We can't throw either of them out and say, oh, it's terrible. But for my own choice, personally, I prefer to not put any pharmaceutical chemicals into my system, if at all possible. I would avoid, obviously, vaccines, or a lot of stuff. There's alternative routes if I need it. If I have to go to a doctor for whatever reason, I'm not going to rule it out. Personally, as people who know me or used to listen to the channel, I favour free choice. I think it's every individual's right, or in their interest of their own development and evolution, to take responsibility for themselves, to be responsible for their own choices. Ruling out a certain area does not allow people choice. It's like prohibition. If you rule out alcohol and go, alcohol is the problem, People will destruct. They find other ways to destruct. Alcohol is not the problem. Drugs are not the problem. It's the behavior or the energy in the people that needs to be released, resolved, whatever word you want to use. So removing homeopathy or banning it or licensing it or any of these kind of things it's more of the kind of control machine that is becoming the Orwellian beast that's getting greater and greater these days. So it kind of bleeds into cannabis and the use of cannabis for cancer treatment, for example, or cannabis oil as opposed to smoking cannabis. So, once the state or the machine gets its claws in these things, it can control who uses it, how they use it, and I'm not in favour of any of that. There's a herb called St. John's wort, and it's been used for a long time for depression. It's been used for a long time to treat depression. It's illegal in Ireland. It's a herb. It's not mind-altering. You can't get stoned or high off it or any of that kind of stuff. I've suffered from depression in the past, thankfully not too recently. And in my late teens, I used to take St. John's wort. And around that time, they banned it. So I kind of experienced, so I have a choice of go to a GP and likely be put on medication, or else try and get it from outside of Ireland, which is the route that I took. The theory that licensing something or regulating something protects people is an illusion. There are, Harold Shipman. Wasn't Harold Shipman a doctor, and how many people did he kill? Now he's obviously not 10 a penny, hopefully, but doctors make mistakes, surgeons make mistakes, homeopaths make mistakes, people do stupid things. That's life. It's this nanny state idea of we have to protect everyone from everything is actually denying people their own responsibility. We need to be nurturing a responsible society where people seek feedback. They go on the internet, they read a book, they do research, they speak to a doctor, they speak to a homeopath, they speak to a friend who's used X or Y, they test. Now, not everyone is of that mindset. I'm not. But I am of the mindset that I'll talk to people. So there's the angle and the suggestion that it is auto-suggestion or a placebo. I think that's fine. I think that's great. I'm actually happier if that is the way homeopathy or some of these alternative medicines work. I think that's brilliant. If we can trick the mind into healing itself or the body into healing itself without putting in chemicals, fantastic. I'm happy out. If I can pay someone 50 or 70 quid to lie to me and convince my body to heal itself of a sinus infection by actually just giving me a sugar pill or a bottle of water that supposedly there's medicine in, I'm happy with that. I have no complaints. So whatever works for you, whatever route you're happy to take, go for it, explore it, and don't feel the pressure of society to say that this is the way to go, that you shouldn't be taking your medicine or you shouldn't go to a homeopath. Take responsibility, do what feels right for you, and don't blame the doctor and don't blame the homeopath. You made the decision. And don't nanny people. Encourage people to be responsible and be responsible yourself. Maybe we could be a bit less controlling of other people. It seems to be, it's rife in society. It's what politics is founded on. And the medicine world love that, the legal world love it. It's like forcing everyone else to do what this group wants to do. So homeopathy falls into that too, and that the medical world is like, oh yeah, they need complete control. We cannot have people using alternative medicine. We cannot have people making money when we want to make money. Or they're not registered doctors. They should have their qualifications and certifications and licenses. How about letting people just have their own experience? Do what they want to do. How about being happy for people to actually take their own decisions and have their own experiences and go, that didn't work for me. I'm not going to use it anymore. Or that worked for me. It might not work for you. But we do love this kind of black and white mentality of control. Those are my thoughts. Hope that was of some interest. Please feel free to subscribe to the newsletter. There's a link below. Subscribe to the channel if you want, Hope you're well. Thanks for listening.